Alright, hello world. Just finished a long road trip. I've driven from Adelaide to Sydney, about 20 hours. And for some reason I'm not going to sleep, so we're going to start the first master's class. Sunshine Windows, Emilio Brunno and Sophia Brunno. Okay, the first thing I want to do, the first lesson, is go through packing your bucket, prepping your bucket, your basic tool belt and tools needed for a builder's clean. And a remote control. So, the first thing we pick up, just a mop cloth. Mop cloths are good. Very good if you want to wipe down frames on the end of a pole, which I apply. A dusting cloth. Sophia, you're moving the camera. This is not going to work if you keep moving the camera. I already forgot the SD card for the actual camera and had to rig my phone up and the tripod, so hopefully it's working well. But if you've got a dusting pad, you can chuck it over your squeegee in the beginning, or chuck it on a doodle bob type thing. And you've got up high windows, but all I've got is a little bit of dust on them, and it's a regular job, and they don't really need squeegeeing every single week. Give it a dust. It's probably better if you, when you do your quote, to tell them, hey, if you want it every week, and you've got these windows up high that don't need cleaning every week, I'll give you a little bit of a discount, we'll just dust them and we'll clean them once every 3 months. It's always better if you let your customers know. Well, you know, especially when you're starting out, sometimes you'll find yourself in situations where you've underquoted, you've got the job, you know you can leave the job. You want the soap? So she already wants the soap. Then she's going to want squeegee and a bucket, and she's going to start teaching us how to do it. Completely lost my train of thought there. So whatever it was, maybe we'll get back to it. Alright, so I quickly grabbed some window cleaning gear before I left, because I had a massive week before we left. But we got a fair bit of stuff, and we can go for a fair few things. So we're going to go through packing your bucket and prepping your bucket. And when I say prepping your bucket, what I mean there is putting an R-clip behind the back so that it cannot pull out of the bucket no matter what. And I've had buckets fall off and give you a fair amount of extra work and break as they hit the ground and you don't have a bucket left to finish your job. It wasn't a good day. Anyhow, that's the only real prep that I could think of for a bucket. Clean it after a dirty job. Then you've got packing it. Alright, so we're back again. Forgot my SD card, forgotten the charger for the phone. So now I've got my laptop plugged in with the cable running off to the wall and the USB running up into the phone. The tripod's on a 45-degree angle. And I'll go grab the missus phone and we'll take a photo of it at the end so I can post it so you can see how we're actually making this video. There's the truth in business. Improvise. When something's not possible, work out another way to do it. So, when it all went wrong before, we were just about to show you packing a bucket. Okay, good morning now. We had to interrupt the first masterclass a little bit early last night. After 20 hours of driving, it was a bit too much for my daughter. I had to go pretend to be asleep, and the next thing I knew, I was asleep. We were all asleep, now we're up. So, where do we leave off? The bucket. We've prepped a bucket. The drive-through. But I don't think we can see it very well. So, right there. We've got the R-clip. Alright, so got the R-clip. The handle can't come off. in any empty spots. Okay, take 5. Batteries have died, forgotten SD cards. My beautiful, gorgeous little daughter has been perfectly great at getting him away. Down. Hopefully in this last part we get this all finished for you. What we go through? Bucket handle, put some R-clips on bucket handle, it's not going to fall. When you're packing it, put your squeegees on last. Put the channels on top of each other. We want to pack it in a way where we're not going to bend our channels. You want to get to a job and have a bent channel and be struggling to get the job done because you didn't take the time to pack your bucket properly. And we also went through started to with a mop and the duster. So I remember having jobs at the beginning. I was actually working for somebody else, and commercial job, management job. So generally I'd be there for an hour. I'd get like $40 for it, and there were a fair bunch of like second story internal windows, which cleaning them all the time wasn't much point. I'd get this duster, and I'd dust them down. You couldn't tell the difference. I couldn't tell the difference. As a professional window cleaner, I couldn't tell the difference. I clean windows. I cleaned them a couple of weeks ago or whatever. Had some dust, like dust off. It lasts for longer. This was when I first started using a whole bunch of plastic containers that you know you can keep stuff dry. Alright. Initially, you can just drape these over your squeegee. You use them as you need. But having one of these on the end of your pole always going to do you a lot of good. So they're actually just a lot like a hose connection. You can put this on the end of a wooden pole, you can put this on the end of any pole, and it'll tighten up. I like this particular one because it's got Velcro. You get ones with just like these plastic tabs which actually hold onto these mops, I think, a bit better than the Velcro does. And we'll get into this a bit more later. But these ones, the foam at the back of like your magic eraser, it'll stick to them. This will take off fine smears of silicone. It won't take off thick smears, we'll take off fine smears of silicone. We'll take off permanent marker, take off tape adhesives and leftover from sticker residue and all kinds of things. You got them up high, especially the site where you're not allowed to use ladders, on the end of a pole. And I've done this 9 meters high removing silicone, removed 90% of it, and then just got the little bits that I needed with a ladder. And the only reason I'd get the little bits that I needed to get with a ladder was this was glass that I couldn't put my razor blade scraper, pole scraper on the end of. I had to use a ceramic one. And I'll need to make something for putting these on the end of a pole, because they're great. And we're in a hotel room, so I can't go and actually do the process. But I want to cover these a bit, because if you're going to go window cleaning, especially if you're new and you don't know everything about all the different types of glass, and different things about using razor blades, using one of these ceramic scrapers, you've got a lot more leeway. It's a lot less likely to scratch things. But I'd say the main things to know when you're using a scraper is if my pain is the glass, is if something gets between the scraper and the glass. That's when the scratching occurs. The scraper itself doesn't scratch it. So you want to lift off and push forwards. Lift off and push forwards. Now, your angle on your scraper and the angle from your squeegee aren't all too different. The bit that's actually doing the work. So I want to demonstrate that, but using a black rubber is just going to be too small for you to see on the video. But we've got this crushed up steel wool box here, which will do just fine. So, if we picture this to be a squeegee rubber, which at the end of the day, for both rectangles with, 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, so 1 side, 2 sides, 3 sides, 4 sides, goes into our channel. This part here is the top bit here. So, the bit that we want to go across the glass is the actual corner edge here. So this edge here is pushing the water across the glass. Now if you get your angle and you put it down too much, that edge there is no longer really going across the glass, but it's actually this edge here. If you go too far, it's this edge here starts going across the glass. Both scenarios, you're going to get streaks, it's not going to work, you're not going to take all the water off the glass. So you want to be using this edge. That's what's going to push it across. If you get something big and oblong, you can start easily using the edge. And training your mind so that when you're using a squeegee, the angle of your wrist and your mind, it all knows it's this corner edge here which is doing the work. This is what's pushing the water across the window as I pull the squeegee across the window. Alright? So, that's the edge that you're using. Obviously, that little bit there is a lot thinner than a rubber, but it's still got the same size. And it's the edge that does the work. Now, with these ceramic scrapers, I'll get little nicks and stuff out of them as you work with them. And they come with a little sanding pad that you can use to re-edge it. Now, what I've been doing is you get a junior one, it's this little teeny small one. And it works quite well because the edges are smaller, it's sharper and it's a good little tool. These big ones are good because they're big, but they're not very sharp. So what I've been doing is in here we have my glass polishing kit for removing glass, and basically different grade sanding discs, So when it comes to removing scratches from glass, you basically have adhesive pads. There's a technique which you use to not get distortion and to take off an even layer of glass. Take glass off with the sanding pads, then you get felt tip pad. Put felt tip pad on. You get some cutting agents, cerium oxide generally, make up a cutting mix. Put your cutting mix on your felt tip pad, buff it back to a nice, smooth, shiny piece of glass. This is great when you're doing builder's cleans if you know how to do it. You're never going to do it at the same price. I charge $140 an hour to remove scratches. And I was trained by glass polish. But what I've been doing, and I'm not going to do this in a hotel, I'll turn this on and I'll use this to re-edge it. So you can see now, just a little something to note, because I actually got sidetracked when I was re-edging one last time. And it heated it up and burnt it. and it's started to take the Velcro off of the foam pad, and it's left a little bit of adhesive here. So obviously if you do this, you just want to be careful that you don't build up too much heat. And when you're glass polishing, you're definitely being careful to not build up too much heat. But ceramic, glass, slightly different. You're taking away a lot more. Heat can build up really easily. Watch out for it. But you'll get a super fine edge on your ceramic blade, and it's going to work so much better. And you can, I've used these on tint, I've used these on eco glass, I've used these on Thermaltech glass, I've used this on black glass. No scratching. But it's not nice and sharp, like a good quality stainless steel razor blade designed for glass. And it's going to leave some little bits of adhesive and stuff when you're taking off tape and stickers. And white magic, a little bit of water, rub the remaining bit off. Just get this to get the thick bits off, like the silicon. Thick bits of silicon. White magic. So, between the two tools, the scraper and the white magic, you can clean pretty much everything off. Just a few things left over, which are abrasive and gritty, like render and cement, and a few other things that are out there. I'm going to get some steel wool. Whenever you buy steel wool, if all you see is superfine, that's just not enough. You need to see grade followed by 4 zeros. This will be safe on glass. When you're using your steel wool, never grab some with wet hands. As soon as this rusts, it's going to scratch the windows. When I'm using this to remove render from the window or cement from the window, spray bottle, pump it up, bucket of soapy water in here. More soap, less chance of scratching. Soap's going to encapsulate little bits, especially degreaser. Keep spraying water on there, using a very wet soapy piece of steel wool. You'll take cement, you'll take render off glass, you won't scratch it. You'll even take fine hard water staining and deposits off. Steel wool's one of your best friends. Now, there is another thing that I started using instead of steel wool, as my daughter starts spraying soap around the house, or her motel room I should say. And I'm going to quickly run off and grab that. So, you get these. This is an Oaks Eager Beaver. This one here I've actually used a building site. It has men's eye on it. It's been eaten up. It's breaking apart. I just didn't get a chance to find some of my new ones as I was running out of the house to come up to Sydney, so we've got a couple of important things to get done. This, unlike steel wool, is not going to rust. With fine steel wool though, it kind of breaks down as you go. I think it's a bit safer. I think there's more room for the breeze to go. But if I'm using this, or I'm using cement, I've always got saturated to the point where water's coming out. I want to go through and explain things in this video, and then we'll do actual how-tos where you get to see it up close. I'm working on it. My mate, he's got some more better cameras, and he's going to start doing footage and taking, he creates beats, so he's going to make some audio for the tracks, and we'll have a bunch of really cool how-to tutorials for you. So, go through your bucket. You want to pack your bucket properly. You want some arc clips on the back of your handle so it doesn't fall off. We've had that fall off, as I said. Now, another thing that I find really comes in handy is a belt. A lot of window cleaners use belts. Builders' jobs, I use belts a lot. Because when I'm at a builder's job, I want to know that I've got my scraper on me. I want to know that I've got somewhere for some white magic. This isn't actually my normal window cleaning belt, it is just a tool belt. Just a good old tool belt. And it works quite well. Now you've got pockets, you've got things you can put squeegees in. It's always good when your squeegees can sit upright behind your back, in my opinion. You know, brush. Another brush. It's great. Remove stuff before the window gets wet. You know, you want to be able to have some cloth management. Okay. Now, I might need to find my actual razor blade a little bit later on. Alright? It is in here. This is why I want tool belts. So in the tool belt, I would also recommend having spare blades, obviously in like a dry container or a Ziploc bag, or something along them lines. So when you're doing builder's cleans, spare cheap phone, this could come in handy. I've broken phones at builder's cleans before. I'm running a business, I need people to call me, my phone breaks, spare phone, chuck a SIM card in, get through the rest of the day. Android, I use Google business apps for a lot of things. We'll do a few things on Google and SEO and website optimization and more business specific sides of window cleaning as well. So, got your bucket, you got your belt, you got a bunch of different kinds of towels, it's probably the next thing. So you can get straight cotton linen cloths, good for the environment, good for polishing, not good for absorbing water. Cotton nappies, terry cloths, not good for polishing, great for absorbing water. Microfiber cloths, great for cleaning, great for picking up dust. You get synthetic glass cloths. I don't have any on me at the moment, I don't use them too often anymore, I pretty much use cotton. I try and avoid using all synthetics. I don't want to be washing synthetics out into the ocean and having them do all the bad stuff that they do. I've got a little bit on my website and you can quite quickly find some information on microbeads and microplastics if you go have a look on the internet. But for me, it's going to do a lot more for our environment than whether we're not using some biodegradable detergent. Alright, so, hey, what do you know? Synthetic polishing cloth. You want to keep these, obviously, somewhere dry and clean. Always got a few on my little glass polishing kit. When it comes to me doing glass polishing and scratch removal, and as I was taught by the guy who taught me, he was a guru, he's a legend. From a glass polisher, I'm removing scratches. I don't need to be a good window cleaner. I can use gloves. I just need to be good at getting rid of scratches. Alright, so I've gone through the bucket. Our tool belt. Then when it comes to squeegees, the most important thing is the rubber. A lot of people get carried away with how great a Sorbo squeegee is. And having a stiff channel is great. Once you pass 18 inches. Before 18 inches, your standard channel is amply stiff enough. And on some of your older glass, which is not 100% flat, or may have had glass polishing on it, it works better. And on sliding doors with handles which come across the glass, you haven't got much room to go. This can scratch glass. This can't scratch glass. It's also thinner, so it can fit through. So you got to watch out with these. And it comes back to the angle, but I was talking about using the scraper and showing the box, and you're using the edge. If you don't know about with a Sorbo and you're using this flat bit under here, and again, my hand's a window, that shows you the angle a bit more. If I start bringing my handle towards the glass, And you can do this with your hand as well, so then you can feel it. It's that alloy that's being dragged across my hand. It's no longer the rubber. So if you reduce your angle on a piece of glass, particularly one with a film or a tint, plastic is going to scratch even easier. And you've reduced your angle so you can get down in between the handle of the sliding door or whatever it is that you're cleaning the glass on. You can put scratches in. And if you don't know about it, and you're stretching out wide and you're trying to get a further reach, that's where I see a lot of parallel scratches for width of the channel, is with a curve, and it's where they've turned, they've lost their angle, and they've scratched the sawbow channel across. Notice there's a couple other brands that do really thick reinforced alloy channels. I don't know what they're like, I've never used them. Like, the vast majority of professional window cleaners, pretty much all the ones abseiling, they pretty much all use this. I believe there might be a way that you can put on a wagtail handle. Wagtail handles are pretty awesome. I wish I actually had one here to show you. Right, but it's kind of your two main channels that you get. You get your like more what I refer to as a traditional channel, and you get your reinforced fixed sawbow channel. And when you're going like over 18 inches, you've got a 22-inch squeegee or even a 32-inch squeegee, which you can overuse. As long as they're nice big stiff ones, they work fine. But if it's a traditional one, you can't go that size. So you've got your two different kinds of blades, and then you've kind of got, I guess, three different types of handles. You've got the handles that articulate and pivot, your fixed handles. Some handles I ordered one a while ago, but I haven't got it, but you can increase and decrease the angle on there. Generally the angle is between 30 and 40 degrees. And then you also get the 0 degree straight on squeegee, which this is my favourite squeegee. Like if all I was doing commercial jobs with big windows, yeah, all I would use is commercial big sawbow squeegees. But if I was a window cleaner, I was doing all kinds of general window cleaning, I could only have one squeegee. This would be my squeegee. This is a wagtail adapter. Here's an Unger crank adapter. So there's adjustable. So you put your different angles on and adjust the offset of which your squeegee is coming off your pole. So if that was a straight pole, you're coming off straight, but because this isn't, it puts the angle on. So if we go like that, so the inside of the squeegee is there, and we pretty much have a standard squeegee. You standard angle that swivels. But if we need, we've got one that's straight on, which means like we could be using our pole, and I can have all this stuff here down on the ground, and if that camera lens was big enough to clean, I could clean directly straight across. I'm not having to adjust for the angle, I'm making the angle myself. So we're always, again, cleaning with this edge. So here's your different type of squeegees. Don't get too caught up on the different kinds of squeegees. So at the end of the day, you go get the most basic hardware squeegee, and with the right knowledge and technique, you can clean any window. But let me rephrase that. With the right technique, you can take the water off of any window. And if you get a small streaks on it, you can use a polishing cloth and nobody's going to be the wiser. As long as it's well looked after, polishing cloth, and it's not leaving lint everywhere. So don't get too caught up on your squeegee. Not the most important part to cleaning windows. The most important part to cleaning windows is cleaning the window. Unless you get really lucky and like all your jobs are high-end hairdressers that don't get kids in them, and are lawyers and are accountants and are business places, and all you're doing is cleaning dusty windows, then yeah, I guess the most important thing there is the squeegee. But when you have to actually clean windows, there are a lot of things that are more important than what takes the water off the window. What water are you using, what detergent are you using, what scrubbers are you using, all these kind of things. You can have a normal window washer and a squeegee and have some silicone, and you're never going to get it off. You can give it a few little wipes of this white magic and it's gone. Alright, you can know to use degreaser, you can know to use end zone graffiti remover, you can know about a whole bunch of different cleaning products which can actually allow you to clean the window. All the squeegee does is take the water off. So, the next thing we'll go on to is our washers. Now then, so, if I'm at a commercial job, like my Hungry Jack's jobs, which got fingerprints, but no build up with like gritty stuff on the window, then what I want to use is just a mop pad. This has that much more surface area. Even though it's only a really small one, but even if it was the same length, surface area is massively big here, and you feel it when you're washing, like, you know, like. But this is like literally one pass, and where there's a couple fingerprints, done, squeegee. One of these, you can be scrubbing for quite some time. Right, now I've got this little small one. Up first. Don't worry about the size. Good for climbers. Washer, T-bar, flat, pivots. I can't see much point in any window cleaning equipment that doesn't pivot, unless you plan on never using a pole ever in your entire life. So, what I want to point out here, like, this is standard, this is normal, nice and flat. This goes on there. You have a full washing area, which is applying force. Now, that's fine. So, and the difference here between this washer and the mop pad is the length of these hairs, how deep this is. So when I'm washing at a builder's job or a dirty job, any sand, any dirt, any dust that might scratch the window, little bits of rocks, cement, they have somewhere to go. They're not necessarily going to stay on the top. So as long as you're being light, you'll remove that loose stuff. And then if you use one of these, there's not really far for it to go. This one here has got like little scrubby bits, so it's a little bit better than a lot of other mop pads. But if I do grab another one, and these Rubbermaid ones, awesome, aggressive cleaning power, stick heaps well. Big fan of these. This one here is a decor one, I think. It just came with a doodle bug, but I had to buy it for a job because I've had a few new people starting for me, and I've been running around doing a whole bunch of things, and I haven't always had everything on me, and I've had to go to a few Bunnings runs lately. But this, on a builder's site, you are just risking scratching the window before you even got a chance to squeegee the window. And a lot of people say, you know, like, you want to go get a liability waiver form that you can't get done for scratches. There's nothing wrong with it. Probably a good idea. If you're starting into business and you got capital, sure, go ahead and do it. Start business the way I did. That's not happening. So, now we're going to go on to my constructor's washer. You see what I've done here is I've put two rubber leg footings on either end of it. What this does is it means that when it's up against the window, these here are touching the window. And they're rubber and they've got a little softness to them, but better than just some hard alloy. But you've got this whole area here where there's a bit of extra give, particularly because these black bits make the washer quite tight. So, once I get it on, there we go. This last bit's quite difficult. You know, I took it off to show you what I do. But it does come to getting tight sleeves on. You can't really fight it. Slow and steady wins the race, so. Alright, so there's just that little bit of extra give there now. And these got these little scrubbing pads. That's good. They come in handy. Don't scrap. A little bit of extra scrubbing power. Alright, so we've gone through our washers and our squeegees and our bucket and our belt and our scrapers and our white magic angle adapters. Okay, we're on to squeegeeing and taking the water off. This is just a cheap brass channel. It's from a hardware. It's as cheap as you get. It's been dog-eared and then cut down and munted and bent, and it's actually still pretty true. I do look after my tools quite well, I won't lie. But it's not in perfect condition, that's what I'm trying to say. So we'll get rid of this T-cone channel. The T-cone channel, alloy with the T-rubber, perfect, no need for clips. Okay, so with this channel and this blade, we're going to use a clip on one side. The clip goes onto the rubber. It has been used before, so I just need to open it up a little bit. Push it down onto the rubber. So you've got the amount of rubber sticking out from the top of the clip to what you like. I'm not going to say there is a perfect amount of rubber to have coming out of your squeegee. You need to have some rubber coming out of your squeegee. You don't want to be scratching frames. And the smaller it is, the less water is going to be there to detail. But the perfect amount is down to the individual person. So when it comes to putting in blades, if you can put some soapy water on it, it's going to go in there a lot easier. It's going to sit better. It's just going to be better. So we'll actually do this above the bucket. So I've actually got towels sitting below me, and I don't want to go to someone's house to clean stuff and stain a carpet or run a pole across someone's ceiling and ruin it or scratch their glass and all kinds of horrible stuff that I've seen. And I don't want you to do it either, because that's just stressful. It's not cool. You'll feel good about yourself and what you're doing. So, wet and soapy, it's gone straight through, no issues, man. Like, it's not gripping. It's sliding in there, which means the rubber's sitting in the channel real nice. But we've only got a clip on one side. And the first thing we've done was put the clip so there's the right amount of rubber coming out. So now we can just push this clip down. Of course, it's going to be a little bit difficult. This clip is actually a little bit cracked, I'm noticing. There's just a little flap there not wanting to go into the channel. Gosh, and all my spare clips are in the ute, so I don't know if you can see that from on the camera. It's split in here, but like a little bit of panel beading, I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, so now something I also do, and this is something my old boss Chris Murphy taught me, Legend Window Cleaner. The labelling, he puts on the top of the channel. So when he takes the rubber out, he knows whether he's still got the other edge just by looking at the labelling without actually having to look at the integrity of the rubber. I mean, you don't even need to take it out. Like, you can just look at the bottom and go, I can't see any labels. Labels are at the top. I'm still on my first edge. I can flip it around. But still trying to get this panel beading to work. So in my ute, I have pliers, hammers, screwdrivers, angle grinders, circular saws, like you name it. Oh, I've got the line there. And I've just about all came in handy at one point or another. So, clips in one end. This rubber's not coming out now, without giving it a proper, you know. And this end here is loose. It means the rubber can sit naturally inside the channel. That's what you want. You don't want the rubber Hello, beautiful. You don't want the rubber condensed up. You don't want the rubber stretched out tight. You want the rubber sitting in there naturally. Okay. Now, I got an old piece of rubber sitting on this sill, so I can just cut through this piece of rubber and not touch the sill. For that cut there, I have pushed straight down and tried to make 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. Every angle on it, 90 degrees. A human's not going to get it perfect, but you're going to get it close. So, squeegee. We'll get on to drill a little bit later. I'm a short ass, so I need a pole. So before we go too much further, pole. This is a cheap pole from Bunnings, made by Sapco. Half the amount of my Glidex poles and better. No difference as far as alloy construction is concerned. This plastic handle, put a piece of rubber on the bottom of it. That way if I've leant it up against something, it's not going to slide out. It's got that little bit of grip. Comes in handy all the time. So that's just a little modification I make to it. And just while we're on poles, so these cheap ones generally have threading on the top, which is cool. A lot of cheap attachments which come in handy, like brooms, which thread on, and Dougal bug attachments and mop attachments, and that's good. So, just with the pole, you got the angle adapters. So if I wanted the angle for the flathead, this is actually the wagtail one. And what this wagtail one's for is if I'm actually working heaps close like this, then I can get that angle there. Right? Gives you a little bit of extra play, so you don't need to move. You can change the angle. And I like this. I actually quite use this a lot. You see, that gives me a lot of reach. There's no water on the glass, so I can't show you as yet. But we'll get there. Okay, so with the younger adapter, goes in place at the end of your pole tip. Pole tip goes on. So now this one's really tight, but it will make it on there, but I don't want it on there. I'm going to use it for other things, but you can adjust it. This is the younger one. It's all made out of plastic, and it's okay. Having a Torre one at home, it's all made out of steel, and I prefer it. That's me. So, okay, so that can be an issue, can be a good thing. I have some poles which I can bring it straight out. I mean, I can put this here on the end of my big long water fed poles, use it for extension jobs, have a normal bit at the end, not be putting my carbon pole into squeegee handles, etc. I'm thinking of these particular cheap ones, and maybe they just don't do it. I don't remember whether I took it off or they just didn't do it. But I remember seeing in my tool belt, which is down here holding up the camera stand. And we got some electrical tape. And if you put one wrap of electrical tape around it, it might be more. It's been a little while since I've actually done this. I think it's just for one. See? It's a little bit harder for it to come out now. If I put another one in, probably make it even better. this bottom one. See? I think it's just these cheaper poles don't have it. So that could be dangerous if you're handing it down to someone. It fell straight off. I'm quite sure most of the actual professional grade window cleaning poles though, they do this here before they ship them off. This is where I got it from. I didn't invent this. And I think my boss pointed it out to me, but I'm pretty sure that it was just like this. We can take apart some of my better branded poles when I get home and double check it. Well, it's not really an important truth. So, I don't know if we'll bother with that. So now, traditional channel, probably the cheapest channel you can get, it's from the hardware. And the standard, everyday, fixed channel. And this is actually a bit loose. Just on one side. Which that's not going to be fun. I got the Allen key bit on for my water-fed poles, and my drill set bit is in the ute, but we'll get onto the drill at this point. I like drills, I quicker than screwdrivers. Sometimes you get blind brackets where you need to take out the blind and the bracket to get the fly screen out to clean the inside of the window. Main reason for a drill. Quite often, especially these traditional squeegees, need some adjustments. Good to have a screwdriver on you. Usually have a screwdriver on my belt, but as I said, I have them on my window cleaning belt, so I actually don't think I have a screwdriver on me. So we'll make this work as it works. Yep, we will. Alright, so bit of soapy water. It kind of sucks that this window's wet and rained on now, because it's going to be a little bit harder to see what's actually going on. Maybe if I put some extra soap on, we might get a bit more soap suddy, and we might be able to see it a bit more. Now, if you, I've got a towel down here by the way, if you squeeze the top out, which I don't need to because this isn't really wet, so it's down, you don't want the top to be saturated, well at least one end, it doesn't need to be both ends, just one end. Then follow the frame with that end. And one of the main advantages that that'll do, cool, we're getting nice amounts of soap guys because I put a ridiculous amount of soap on here. But we'll be able to see what I'm doing now. But what this will do is if you've been, say, working on the window up above and water has came down, I've got water on this frame, on the bottom part here. If it's damp, it'll just wick it away. You want to be light, you don't want to be pushing water into the seal. Yeah, done. So like, when you're cleaning, you want to wash the glass, and then you want to deal with the frames. So you want to deal with the frames. Now this is actually a wet one that I've been using for washing. So it didn't do the best of jobs. It just put more soapy water on the frame. So yeah, this here the rubber made, that would be my recommended mop cloth, I reckon. It's a bit more expensive, but it's worth it. So now that you've done that, it's time to squeegee. Now, with a pole that doesn't swivel, problem with cheaper poles, you can actually still swivel. So that's one way, and if you can master that when you can't swivel your squeegee, that really actually does come in handy. Because it might be that, you know, if I'm poling straight down, my pole in the corners, it can't be on an angle because it will never be up flat on top. So if I've got to reach over there, I've actually got to get my arms across there. So if I can't stand over there to do it, then I need a squeegee that can be moved to pole straight down. But if I can only stand over here, and I've learned the right technique, then even though I'm not managing to stand over there, well, it is taking a fair bit of shoulder contortion, which is going to leave you pretty sore at the end of the week. It's doable. Generally, cleaning windows commercially, or any window cleaner, you want to be quick. You want to get a good result at the same time. Generally, the quickest way you can do a window is getting a squeegee that's, you know, over half the size and 1-2 strokes straight down, or even like this one here. I've cut this down with a hacksaw. I've got a job 100 jack saw. It's got like 12 windows, do both sides. This is the exact shape for it. You know, it's like literally when you are pulling down, you've got to go off the glass and pull down, lift off the glass and pull down, lift off the glass and pull down, and you start to feel that the glass gets dry. If you can tap the water off, you're not going to have to do as many taps up the top there. Alright. If you dry your squeegee rubber, you won't need to do any taps. And what that can mean is if you got down here and something went wrong, so you've still got from here down, if it's dry, you can go straight on and come down. But just to make sure, go out a few times. Now you'll feel the rubber is dried on the glass, and you can come straight down. We don't need any more soap in that. Alright, so it really is a pity that it was rain. But what I'm trying to say, and you can work it out if you practice, which if you really want to be a window cleaner and you are going to practice, you are going to do this, so it's going to be fine. You're going to see. Use a hardware squeegee. Perfectly fine. Now, I don't have a squeegee with dog ears on me to show you. I mean, I did sort of do this one as my first and only attempt, and I don't seem to care for it. I like for more than accelerated dog ears. Like, there are parts about them I like and parts about them I don't actually like. But I need to do a whole video on that. So, I'm going to use this chair so I can reach the top of the window. I'm going to try and stand to the side, hopefully you can still see. There you are. Well, there is actually another technique which will completely get rid of any need for detailing. And it doesn't matter what channel you've got, whether it's a Sorbo or a hardware one, or it's got dog ears or it doesn't have dog ears. You're still not going to have to do any detailing, but it does add 2 strokes to your window cleaning. So, 2 strokes to your window cleaning rate is better than cleaning detailing cloths. So, what you can do, even with your standard blade, we'll go on this side. If I'm going up like that, there won't be any detailing. If for some reason I was to go up like that, there's going to be detailing on the edge. Not a lot, but there is. You can see the water's running down there. And what that's got to do with is, like, I go like this. Obviously the water's being dispersed from the lowest point. So it's taking it a lot away from the edge and bringing the water up over here. And there's very little, there's not enough to have to detail. But like that, well, the water can't go upwards, so all the water's ending back at the edge. And you've got to detail that. That's going to look worse than if you don't. It depends. You've got what standard you do, but I'm going to say you have to detail that. If you make a stuff up somewhere, here's a little something. Tap some water on it, and you'll get enough glide to use your squeegee. Thank you, Chris Murphy. Yeah, the electric window cleaner. Lucky, got taught by one of the best. So, if we went normal as per, like, I can do this here with a mole man, and there's not going to be any detailing to do. And the only detailing that there is to do with this hardware channel is up in the corners. It's from about here to here, and from about, yeah, it looks like it's from about here to there. And that's because it's not until about angles down there, aggressive, that it's now taking. You see that little line there? Because what's happening is, nowhere for the water to go on the seal, it's coming down, it's actually pushing the water back up the rubber and out this side. But at this point, that's the lowest point. It's got somewhere to go. Rubber's going to come out this side, so I've got the same thing. The water's staying there in the edge. So if we want to avoid water in the edge, we're going to have to come up on the angle, come across, come back down before we have the same problem, come back up, and then come down. Now, if you can finish down the bottom, you're generally going to have a little bit less detailing to do. Like, if you finish on the side, what you want to do is finish on the side, not just put it to the side. But you actually want to end up bringing the squeegee up into the frame and squeegeeing the frame as if it was the glass. That'll keep you in good place. Okay, so master classes. Oh. Want to wash the window? Oh, come on. Here we go, Bella. Wash the window. Yep. Alright, give it a wash side to side. Beautiful. Yeah, you going to try the squeegee now? Let me take that. It's covered in soap.
Done.
Soap. Thank you for watching a first masterclass of Sunshine Windows. Emilio and Sophia. Peace.